History gives us a comforting illusion that the world has already been explored, the oceans crossed, the skies mapped, the secrets of Earth carefully cataloged in textbooks and archives. But every so often, something appears that does not belong. An object discovered where no technology should exist, a signal detected where silence was expected, a fragment of material that behaves in ways science struggles to explain. These discoveries do not simply expand history, they disturb it. Tonight's story begins in one of the most secretive places on Earth, a silent desert installation hidden among the mountains of Nevada. Officially, it is a military testing range. Unofficially, it has become one of the most mysterious locations in modern history. Area 51. If you enjoy exploring real mysteries like this one, consider subscribing. There are many discoveries history still cannot explain. Our story begins in 1947. It was a quiet summer in the American Southwest when something strange fell from the sky. A rancher named William Brazel was riding across his land near Roswell, New Mexico, when he noticed something unusual scattered across the desert floor. Not rocks, not wreckage from a plane, but thin metallic fragments that reflected the sunlight in strange ways. Some pieces looked like sheets of metal, thinner than aluminum foil. Others resembled beams or strips covered with symbols that witnesses later described as unusual markings. But the most curious detail was the material itself. When Brazel tried to bend one of the fragments, it folded easily. But the moment he released it, the metal slowly returned to its original shape, as if it remembered what it was supposed to be. Imagine finding something like that in 1947, long before modern smart materials or advanced alloys were even understood. Military officials quickly arrived and collected every piece of the debris. Within hours, trucks carried the materials away, and soon after, the wreckage disappeared. Not into a public laboratory, but into one of the most secretive facilities ever built, Area 51. So the mystery begins with a simple question. What exactly was brought there? And what strange objects were scientists asked to study behind those guarded gates? What do you think? Was this simply classified technology or something far more unusual? Share your thoughts in the comments. Area 51 was established deep in the Nevada desert for one reason: secrecy. Surrounded by mountains and empty land, it was the perfect location to test experimental aircraft far from public view. Over the years, revolutionary machines were developed there. The U-2 spy plane, the SR-71 Blackbird, stealth aircraft that could slip through radar undetected. But according to several engineers and contractors who later spoke about the base, not everything studied there looked like a conventional airplane. Some described small fragments of metal that seemed impossibly light. Others claimed the materials behaved in strange ways under heat or pressure. One researcher allegedly described a sheet of metal that could be crumpled into a ball, yet when placed on a table, it slowly unfolded itself back into a perfectly smooth sheet. This property is something scientists today call shape memory alloy. But in 1940s, such materials were barely understood. Another strange detail appears in declassified reports from later decades. Scientists began experimenting with layered materials thinner than a human hair. These structures could bend electromagnetic waves in unusual ways, potentially making objects invisible to radar. Today, we call them metamaterials. But decades before they were publicly researched, rumors suggest similar materials may have already existed in highly classified programs. Which leads to a fascinating possibility. Were these discoveries truly mysterious or simply decades ahead of their time? At around this point in the investigation, another curious clue appears. Several early test pilots flying near Nevada in the 1950s reported seeing objects performing impossible maneuvers. Sudden right-angle turns, extreme acceleration, hovering silently before disappearing at incredible speeds. At first glance, these sightings sounded like classic UFO reports, but years later, historians discovered something interesting. Many of those sightings happened exactly when experimental aircraft were being tested at Area 51. Aircraft that looked nothing like the planes people were used to seeing. Thin black wings, strange triangular shapes, and flight altitudes far higher than commercial airplanes could reach. To someone watching from the ground, they would have appeared completely alien. Halfway through our investigation, the mystery grows deeper, because secrecy creates two different realities. The public sees unexplained sightings. Scientists inside classified programs see experimental prototypes. And somewhere between those two perspectives, the truth becomes blurred. If you enjoy exploring mysteries hidden in history, consider subscribing. Many discoveries still challenge what we think we know. But Area 51 holds another layer of curiosity. Former employees have occasionally described entire storage hangars filled with strange aircraft designs, shapes never publicly revealed. Some allegedly resembled discs. Others looked like curved triangles or smooth metallic shells. Most of these claims remain impossible to verify. But we do know that revolutionary technologies were indeed tested there long before the public learned about them. Stealth aircraft existed for years before their existence was admitted. High-altitude spy planes flew missions before most people even believed they were possible. In other words, history has already shown that secret technology can look like science fiction. And sometimes it remains hidden for decades. Today, scientists studying unexplained aerial phenomena approach the mystery differently. Instead of jumping to dramatic conclusions, they carefully analyze flight data, radar records, and satellite observations. Many sightings once thought impossible eventually reveal ordinary explanations. Weather balloons, experimental aircraft, optical illusions created by atmospheric conditions. But not every report is so easily resolved. Occasionally, objects are recorded performing movements that current aircraft cannot replicate. No wings, no visible propulsion, sudden acceleration beyond known limits. Not proof of extraterrestrial technology, simply evidence that something occurred which science has not yet fully explained. And that uncertainty keeps the mystery alive. The desert surrounding Area 51 remains silent today. Satellite images show long runways stretching across the dry lake bed. Massive hangars sit hidden between mountain ridges. Inside them, engineers continue building machines the public may not see for years, perhaps decades. Some of those machines may look ordinary once revealed. Others may appear as strange as the objects people once reported seeing in the sky. Which brings us to a final thought worth considering. History often reveals its secrets slowly. What seems impossible in one decade becomes ordinary in the next. The rockets that carried humans to the moon once sounded like fantasy. Stealth aircraft once sounded like conspiracy theories. And advanced materials that reshape themselves once were unimaginable. So perhaps the mystery of Area 51 is not that strange objects were discovered there. Perhaps the mystery is how many discoveries remain hidden, simply waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Before we end, share your perspective. Do you believe the strange objects linked to Area 51 were misunderstood human inventions or evidence of something we still cannot explain? Because the most unsettling part of mysteries like this is not necessarily what we find. It is what those discoveries reveal about the limits of our knowledge. Tonight, the Nevada desert remains quiet. The mountains stand still. Behind guarded fences and silent hangars, research continues.